Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up, an ultra running conversation. Thanks for joining us today. Mandy, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in forever, I feel like.
I know, it's been like
It's been
30 seconds.
like 45 seconds.
Brian, I'm okay, but I'm a little bit lost. I suddenly don't know what to do with my time now that we are not glued to a live stream. How much more, I want to know, what have you been doing this week?
I brushed my teeth, I did some laundry, I did all the things because the live stream is over. The live stream. You guys know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the 2025 Cocodona live stream, right? What a year. It was muddy. It was rainy. It snowed. They had mountains and nighttime water all over the course.
And surprises throughout the entire race that I know kept us all glued to our phones. The moment that I was really glued most is when our guest today was going back and forth and fighting for that third place podium finish. I have a funny story about that. I was at the Colorado Eagles game. They're in the playoffs. I have front row seats on the glass at the Eagles. And I have my phone watching the live stream. Like, is Rachel going to go? Is Edher going to go? Like, who's going to get this? I have it on my ear and I'm listening to this. And I've got a colleague, another friend of mine across the way, and he sees me doing this and he's texting me. And he's like, what are you doing? Get off of your phone. It's the Eagles. And I was like, who cares about the Colorado Eagles? This is the Cocodona 250. Like, to me, no disrespect, Colorado Eagles. I love you. They're actually a sponsor of my race series, so I should be very kind. I love them. I was in both places. But as an ultra runner, I was like, I am very much more invested in what's happening here. I had my kids there. So it's not like we were wasting the tickets, and I did watch, but it was an incredible race. We loved watching every part of it. We were honored that Edher decided to share his story with us. It's a good one, good, kind, funny human. It was a fun conversation.
Yeah, Edher Ramirez was a third place male at the Cocodona 250 this year. He just brings so much excitement to anything. Even the conversation he was excited about, even with some technical challenges that we had prior to even hitting the record button, he was still excited. And I don't think anything could bring him down. I really don't know.
No, and he even talked about it. He said that out there, despite all the challenges, he never really felt a low. He also mentioned he never felt a high, which is super important when we talk about mindset. In ultra is so temporary that you can't get married to that feeling that you're in. So if you're feeling really awesome, you can't stay there too long. You can't get hung up on it because 5 seconds later, you might be down in the dumps. And it sounds like maybe one of his gifts is he is just out there to play and have fun. One of my favorite stories you guys will hear is, the mud, and where other people might have been running through the muddy conditions and getting frustrated and irritated with it. He saw it as an opportunity to leap even further and take leaps and bounds over rocks and just like, let's get as dirty as we can. If the mud's here, I'm just going to embrace it. And he talked once, I think, about getting down on himself and how he got out of it. But he has such a positive outlook on what he went through out there, and I think was really surprising himself with his performance. He had no idea that he was going to do that. He said that he did maybe tell someone at the beginning that he maybe was going to go for the podium, but then was like, what am I talking about? I'm not going to do that.
Someone almost talked him into it, I think it sounded like.
Yeah.
But you'll hear it in the conversation. Yeah. He has just a contagious enthusiasm about himself, and you'll hear it in this episode. And so, it was great to connect with him, and we're going to see more of him. It sounds like he's not done, and he's not ready to step away anytime soon. So I'm sure you're going to start to recognize Edher Ramirez and all the races that happened, the big ones.
Brian, did that our conversation make you want to go back to Cocodona?
Well, our conversation has made me want to go back to Cocodona because Mandy might be signing up here in a couple of days. And if so, I might be able to crew her and not have to run it this coming year in 2026.
Have to run it or get to run it? Don't talk me out of hitting that registration.
I want to run it. You get to run it.
That's true. You've done your time.
I've done Cocodona in 2024. Not as fast as Edher. And maybe I didn't have a positive attitude like he has throughout the whole event. So either way, It was a great conversation to connect with Edher. His family is a huge support system for him, and you can hear that as well in the conversation. He's all about family and the family dynamics. They're all in on the ultra running world. Mm-hmm. If you don't see him at the race, if you don't see him out on course, you're going to see his family out at the aid stations and the finish lines.
Yeah, it was an inspirational story. So if you're listening and you've got kids, family, support system. He has a really awesome take on an encouraging take on how to make sure that you're including everyone in your circle and on your bus to be a part of this with you, and how magical that can be. And it sounds like his kids and his family really embrace it as a positive thing, but he also doesn't really force it on them. He talks about how he makes sure that they're good with it and they're enjoying their time both before and after the experience, which I don't know that I do a great job. Like, I don't know that I've ever left an ultra and been like, okay, hey kids, how was that? Was that too much? Was it fun? What did you like? So that was a good reminder to me just to check in with your people and your loved ones on what your time on course and training is really doing to your relationships. But I think if it's done right, you get them excited about it. And his kids are running and his wife is running 100 very soon as well. Lydia was a joy. Talk about, I think she was getting home from soccer practice and helping us get technology figured out, which was the epitome of support. They're still in their Cocodona journey here.
Yeah, he's super excited, and you'll hear it in the episode. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. We're here in Boulder for a couple days at the Training Peaks headquarters. So thank you to Training Peaks for letting us use this incredible space. This is a real podcast recording studio, not like the ones that we use at home. So this has been exciting as well. A great journey.
Yeah. Thanks, Training Peaks, for having us. Thank you guys for listening. And we can't wait to hear your feedback on this one. Hey.
Edher, how are you today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate you taking some time. I'm sure you're pretty tired still.
My pleasure. No, not really. I'm okay,
No,
Working,
you're good?
normal life. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, have you ran yet?
I was planning to run this afternoon, but I postponed it for tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna run tomorrow morning a little bit. But I've been resting on purpose, like I think a week was the fair break. So I took off a week and then now I'm gonna see how I feel. It's more like I'm already like wanting to go to the mountains and a little hiking than to start training, like I wanna go and have fun again as soon as possible.
Edher, let's back up and talk about, you had a great race at the Cocodona 250 just recently here, just last week. But let's back up a second and ask, how did you get into running and how did you get into the ultra running world?
Okay, yeah. So I started running when I was very, very young, 9, 10 years old. I was very young. Then I started doing some triathlons before I was 18. And I came here to the US and I did a little cross country, but nothing really serious. Like I was just, having fun. I like running. So then a few years ago, we were with some friends and we were start talking about doing a half marathon and we signed up. My wife is the one that signed us up. So we went, did it, and then we did another half marathon, the Zion. So it was a trail run. We didn't really know. We went and the 100 mile and the 50 milers were finishing. So we were like shocked, like these guys are like, they started running yesterday and we're going to start in. And I remember very clearly almost finishing the half marathon and a lady who was running the 100 mile passed me and she was cheering me up. Like, come on, you can do this. I'm like, I'm running, 13 miles. You're just finishing 100 and you're cheering me up. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So that's how I find out about long distance. Then with my brother-in-law, Robert, we signed up for 50K, which it was like, the first, I haven't done a marathon then. So I was just like from half marathon to the 50K. So we start training, we trained together, we did it. And after that, I was like, oh, so maybe I can do, 50 miler, and then another 50 miler. And then I'm like, well, maybe 100 mile, and then it became like, okay, I can finish 100 mile. Then how fast can I do it? And then from there, like my curiosity picked up on the backyard a little bit. So I was like, let's try a little bit of backyard, and then let's try a little bit of like here and there. So I kind of built up this training for the last 3 years that end with an excellent result here in Cocodona. So it's like literally, I was checking because they asked me and I couldn't remember. The first 50K and did it in 2017 at the end almost. And my first 100 miler I did in 2022. So it was pretty recent. I did Bryce Canyon. So from 22, I was thinking on 19, 20, I don't know, for some reason, but no, it was recent, 2022 when I did my first 100 miler, and then from then I just build up until Cocodona.
That's an incredible quick start. I love hearing all of that history, and it sounds like just from the beginning you loved running. And maybe share with us like what's the magic in it that keeps you going for longer distances and now being competitive too. What's the fuel there?
Yeah, it started definitely just kind of wanting to cover the distance, and I always like hiking and hunting and stuff like that. So sorry about that. I always
It's okay. I can
hunting
edit.
and fishing and being out there outdoors. And then when we start running and combining the two, then I find out were some races that like they were like more hardcore. So I was like, oh, like this is like almost like hunting when I go in like for long distance hike, but with a lot of people and trying to do it faster. So it started like just for the adventure, and then I remember after I did canyons 100 mile, I think it was my third. Yes, it was my third 100 mile, and when I finished it, I felt a little bit unsatisfied. I was like, well, I finished it, but I didn't feel like the first and the second. The first was Bryce Canyon, second was Mongolian monster. I always screwed up the name. Monster.
Mogolin.
I think
No,
it's Mogulin Monster.
well, anyway. So that one was a very,
Sure.
very hard
That race.
race.
We know that one.
So
Yeah.
after I finished Canyons, I was like, and I went back and did again Mongolian Monster again, and I find like very, very like I find out that I love being on a hard course with hard conditions. I remember it hailed on us, it rained, it was a little bit of mud. So it was almost like a Cocodona, to be honest. Like I talking with
Mhm.
my wife, it's like it's almost like you do three, of the monsters, and then you're good to go. So my it's just the love of being outdoors, and out there and having fun.
You have a excellent crew. Your wife is very sweet. We just met her before we hit record, and she's very nice. We just met her briefly. She's been emailing with us and helping us get connected. And tell us a little bit about your family. I believe you have some children too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like my family is like it's part of the reason I keep doing this. Like at the beginning it was more like the love of the being outdoors, and then you start, having a family, and luckily, my wife Lydia, she loves the sport too. So she loves running, she loves being outdoors. So from there, when we start having children, we were like, well, they're gonna follow us because that's what we do, and then you find out that it builds a stronger family. Just the fact that you go out, out there and you wake up early all together, and then and I also find out that like you don't always feel like going. You don't always feel like, yeah, let's go. In the morning, sometimes it feels a little hard. Not all the time, but you have to kind of push each other. So once we start like telling the children and the wife, we kind of like even if one of us feels like not going, well, we're all going, because that's what we told last day. So it kind of keep us going, and then they have learned how to crew more competitive the last few races, like we've been learning. So now they it's like a very efficient crew that knows how to handle situations, like in this case with the mud and all that. So they were able to handle whatever the weather was throwing at us. And so yeah, that pretty much, like that's how it's been with my family and the crewing, like all kind of.
Yeah, we both have kids, and so we're right there with you. Our kids have grown up in this space, and it's such an honor to be able to raise our kids in this environment where they get to be around other families and other people that do it. So I love to hear that. That's awesome. How old are your kids?
Yeah, Emily is 6 and Nelly is 9.
Okay. And do they love crewing? What do they love
Oh,
most about it, do you
yes,
think?
yes, they love crewing. Like even every time we go, I ask them before, like if they want to go. And they always say yes. And when we come back, I usually always ask them also, would you guys to come back to the same event we just finished? And because that way I kind of feel like they are telling me what they really really feel, right before and right after. And they always, very fast tell me like, yeah, we want to do it again. And so I think they do like it.
It makes it more special to spend time with family, even if you are running and they are supporting, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Edher, this course this year for Cocodona was muddy and rainy and snowy. And there was all the hail and everything that you like about running, you said. But did you train for that, or did you train for some heat? If so, how did you do that?
Yeah, well, from the beginning when we signed up for the race, I had run Magellan Monster on Angeles Crest first. I actually trained for Angeles Crest. I did 1 month later. I did Mogollon Monster. Then I got second place on that one. So when we signed up for Cocodona, my head was a little more competitive. So I started like planning this race being as competitive as possible. So I start kind of like planning my training on what I thought it was my weakness. So like I had one backyard, so I was like thinking, okay, the sleep, and then I did another one, and then I was thinking like the long effort. So kind of sign up for the 24 hours jackpot. So I live in Vegas, so it's very hot here. So running in the summer, I usually run whenever I can. If my boys are, well, my family, my children are training, I'm running. So sometimes they start at 6, so it's super hot, so I have to run through it. But I was thinking the weather, the heat was gonna be my ally. Like I knew I didn't have the speed. Like after later on when I find out who was running it, I was like, oh my god, I was telling Lydia, oh my god, this is like running with and against your idols and the people that you can admire, and you've been watching videos about them, for so many years now. Because to be honest, I love watching videos of people who inspire me and have like good ideas, good mantras. Jeff Browning being one of them. The finish line was special for me because I have learned some lessons that I keep using. So it's kind of cool to see him. So it was like a dream come true. But at the same time, I'm like, I think I can compete. Maybe I'm not as fast as them, but at the long run, maybe I can be strong and disciplined. So I start thinking the heat is gonna be my ally. The technical terrain is gonna be my ally. So when you guys start like changing the weather, I check the weather like every day, every day. So when Cocodona was coming, checked it 10 times a day. So I knew how I was changing. I'm like, I thought it would be my advantage, but now it's gonna be cool and nice. And I was thinking this guy from Colorado, seeing that guy from, like they train in where the snow or the muddy. I'm from Vegas, doesn't really rain. I mean, I'm from Mexico, but I live in Vegas. So I was like, it's not gonna help me. But then when the race I'm very positive. Everything I try to turn it into positive things. So I'm thinking like, you know what? Let it rain. This mud is gonna help me because it's gonna make it like it's almost like playing soccer and you wanna make the game a little dirty because you are not as good as them. So you fall a little more and you push a little more. That's almost as I felt it. I was like, if there's mud there and they're not used to it or they're gonna, may struggle, John's gonna enjoy it too. And my patient and I, like, we would start like, joking around and, like keeping it like, it is what it is. But at the end, it did kind of like got you like in the head a little bit. So I was like, oh, let's just get done with this mud. But I think I really took it very well. So the conditions, I think, definitely help.
I love that. I love that playful, just have fun and be a kid out in nature. I think it's so refreshing to hear that when our sport and it has that. And like, let's just get to the roots of let's just go explore and have fun and accept Mother Nature for what it throws at us.
Yeah,
It
no.
sounds like you had a fun time out there and you got a little muddy.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. To be honest, I think someone asked me almost at the end of the race, or maybe I was like, let me remember. Maybe someone asked me, and I was like, this is like a perfect result because I was in fourth. So I coming into the race. I'm like, if I'm top 10, static. Like I did it. So when I was coming, I was like 3 or 4. I was like, my God, this is my dream race, but at the same time, it was not an easy, clean race. Like from the start, it was all messy. And in the beginning, when it was so muddy, like we rented an RV, so we were like worried about the RV not making it. So really in the morning, like about to start, I made a decision that I was gonna put everything I had on my drawback to cranking. Because that way, if the RV doesn't make it, my crew doesn't make it, it doesn't matter. I remember telling them, if the dropback doesn't get there, the race get canceled. Kind of yucking around. But when I got the cranking, my wife was there. She was able to make it with a friend, Fernando, on a rental car. Like they just made it there with the mud without the RV. But at least they kind of had some stuff. They borrowed some gloves. They got an extra shirt. So I kind of put whatever I could there. And they told me, oh, if we get your drop back, they're going to allow us to go and meet you at 62. Can keep up, I think it was somewhere 62 miles.
Kippa.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. It is what it is. Let's go. And then I was thinking a little bit, like I hope they find it. I was supposed to change my shoes there. I didn't, because of course I didn't have them. But luckily they got there at 62, so I was able to get my stuff. But then my tracker wasn't working, so they stopped me there. Then the next edit station, the same thing, Mingus Mountain. I'm sorry, in Mingus Mountain, they couldn't make it all the way there. So they have to like drag all my stuff to the edit station and meet me there a little bit. But I was thinking like, oh, it's gonna be cold. It's very, very like high, cold in the morning, 5 a.m. It was 5 a.m. At like perfect 5 a.m. So that changed a little bit my game plan. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna change here and go. And my tracker didn't work again, so I just had to stop again. They had to send some messages. They couldn't get the messages back. But my tracker started working, so I'm like, okay, you're good to go. So I took off. So it was always a struggle, here and there. It was always a struggle. But it was so fun. My crew was always trying to be ahead of what I needed. So they were like ready there, so excited, and ready to help me what I needed. They changed my socks. They did pretty much everything they could.
So much of this distance of 250 miles, I ran Cocodona last year, so that'd be 2024.
Cool. Yeah.
I did not finish nearly as well as you did,
Yeah.
and it was a dry year. But so much of these distances we rely on our crew and the people around us and our support system just to be able to do these things. And so that's really great that you're able to share that with your family and your wife and some friends.
Yeah, definitely. We're very lucky.
Edher, where in Mexico are you from?
I'm from Morelos, Cuautla, Morelos, very close from Mexico City. But I grew up in Valles de Huatulco, Oaxaca, all the way south. And then I came to the United States when I was 17.
Okay. And you're living in Vegas, you said, right?
Yes. I live in Vegas. We have a business here, like a little locksmith business. We do automotive keys, and my kids go here to school, and they are in soccer team. So pretty much we have a life here, and I love it here. To be honest, I'm very grateful of everything, all the chances, all the opportunities, and I can see my family here is loved. At school, at all our friends that we have, at soccer, we really feel loved. Like the running community here in Vegas is great. Like we know some of the race directors here, and they're super friendly, and my kids now know them too. So we're kind of all involved with the we're trying to get more involved with the community, because from the beginning that was kind of like the idea, start going to the races and not just like go race and leave, but talk a little bit, be a little bit ahead of time, stay a little bit later, just be part of the community.
Edher, you had a great successful year at Cocodona this year under some really challenging circumstances. Is this a one and done for you, or will you be back at Cocodona?
This is, of course, something we've been talking about with my wife a lot. And when I just finished, I didn't want to really think about future. I was just more like, I'm gonna take it all. Like this is. I believed it, but I couldn't believe it. Even the day after when I came to the finish line, and then I took some pictures with some of the finishers. I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe this. Like this really happened. Like I did it. My wife, she kept telling me, you did it. So I wanted to like embrace it all and enjoy it for a little bit. But then I was start like immediately I start thinking like, okay, so what's next? Like I'm 39 years old. When I start like training, it was 3 years ago, and it was like a day. I told my wife, I'm gonna start training, as if wanna beat all these professionals. That's what I told her. And from then on, I start training very, very hard and with a purpose. I start reading a lot, watching a lot, trying to learn, trying to understand. I went to run the backyard and two of the Raramuris run from the Taramara, and it was a great experience. Something that kind of I cannot forget is we usually have a way of running. We old people, like you see someone that running and you know who that person is, but they run the same. When you look at them from the back, they run the same. I mean, and we run 150 miles together, loop after loop. I'm like, these people run exactly the same. And then, like, it kind of made me think that maybe there is a more efficient way to transport yourself instead of just running, because they use it as a way of transportation. So I was thinking, like, they're not trying to be funny or like have fun or fast. They're just trying to be efficient, get from point A from B. And that got me thinking a lot. So now I'm older, but I'm like, I feel like I'm a little wiser, and I don't feel like I'm too old. So the new spark has kind of start where I wanna see what I can do before I'm too old. No, it's like, well, I'm not that old. I can still hang. So what if I keep training and as I've been training, and I was telling my wife, I wanna see from here in 10, 15 years, look back and said, when was my peak? And I just don't want to be 39 yet. So now I don't know what race I'm doing the 24 hours World Championship in France. The
Okay.
October, I'm going with Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And that's the only race I have right now. And Cocodona, we'll see. I still like, it's a big expense, it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something you can just like, even 100 miles is nothing compared Cocodona. We were talking about the crew, like the importance and all the, clinician. So I have to also see if we can go that route. But yeah, I'm definitely not finished. I still want to keep training, and keep having fun. Uh, Either competing or just doing the events that I kind of like. I'm like literally googling the toughest races in Earth. Literally googling to see what will be my list.
That's funny. Well, as we're talking right now, registration opens in 5 days. So maybe by the time this airs, we'll know if you've signed up or not for next
Yeah,
year. But
yeah.
it sounds like you're just getting started in your running career, and
Yeah.
what an awesome road ahead of you of possibility.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I'm very excited. Like, I'm very excited for where it's coming because I know I'm healthy, and it seems like everything I train, it gave me, a new strength. So, and I have a lot of ideas of things that I just couldn't train because there is not enough time. Your legs can only be pushed so much. So now I have another, well, I have as much time as I kind of want, but I'm gonna just train very specific the things that I think it can help me even go faster. Having the same fun that I had in Cocodona. It was super fun for me. From before we went, I was thinking of just having fun, and I had fun. I don't recall any low moments. I don't recall any really like super super excited moments. I kind of stay very very present in the moment. So I think the distance fits me well. So 100 miles and up definitely fits me well, and I can train a little harder or more. And we'll see what comes, but. Cocodona definitely. If I heard you can do like payments on him and stuff like that. So I'm gonna let's start like see what I can do, and I would love to come back and see what I can do.
Yeah.
What did your training look like leading up for the 250? Did you do any more miles per week? Did you add anything extra for this particular race from something you did different from the past 100s?
Yeah, no, like my last train, like for example, I start training a little more specific for the 24-hour ultra,
The jackpot.
the jackpot ultra. So I spent about 2 months training for that one. What I mean is flat and fast. I try to be as fast as possible. A lot of mileage for that one. But then when I finished that one, I turned more into backpack with the specific 4 liters and all the gear I needed. and I start run with it every time. I will put that backpack every time. Then about 5 weeks before Cocodona, or 6 weeks, I did a 50K, a race of 50K. And I wear exactly what's gonna wear in Cocodona with the 4 liters and tried not to even drink them. But all in the back, I didn't drink it, didn't touch it. I only refilled the front flask. So I even run with my poles, in the back, even though I didn't use them at all because it had a little bit of elevation, but it wasn't enough to use them. But I carried them. I wanted to see how it feels to be carrying them, on the against your back because I used like a belt. So it was very specific for the rest. And then the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, kind of, I did a repetition of hills. Everything I run was up or down with the backpack. Everything up and down with the backpack. And the last 3 weeks, last 2 weeks, I slowed down a lot, but I still was trying to keep my pace. That's how I kind of decide what my pace was gonna be. 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks before, I went for a run with my backpack and trying to keep my heart rate very low. I run like 4 hours. And then whatever my average came up with, I was like, okay, that's gonna be my average for the Cocodona. That's gonna be my aim. And it was 14, so it was gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. Well, it was 13, and I added a minute to be like, I'm gonna need it. So I was like, well, but that will make it in 60 hours. So it's not realistic, but in paper, sounded like a good idea. So I was like, let's go for it. So that's kind of how was my training, like kind of the last 4 or 5 months. Jackpot was in February, March, April, yeah. Yeah, so like, yeah, the last 4 months was like 24 hours, then get used to the weight. And then the last up and down, technical, very technical. Up and down, very, very technical. Like the most technical, mile and a half that I found. And I was just going that 1 mile, 2 miles, up and down. It was like 2 miles. 2 miles up, 2 miles down, 2 miles up, 2 miles down. And that's it.
Yeah, Edher, I was wondering, you told us a little bit about the front and the middle of the race. What was it like, kind of that last part of the race when you realized you were going to take third? And when did that become a reality for you? Or did it until the finish
No,
line?
it was a dream. Like I was telling you that from the beginning. The thing is, I knew a lot of the runners. Like you see all these documentaries, and you know who has won the races and who has podium and who has finished 5 times. So I knew everyone. Like from the start, so I saw Jose Sosa. And I said hi to him, and he asked me, "What's up, man? You going for a podium?" And I'm like, "I'll try." And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And I kept thinking, like, I just said I would try. But I'm like, whatever, what I said it. And then when we started, I remember, I think in Mingos, I think the going up to Mingos Mountain, that's when I was like, I realized, because that's where Kearney stopped. So I remember I had a pacer and and I just had passed Heroldas. So I saw Heroldas on this section 70. Well, but before I passed John Scott from England. And that's the thing, I keep like passing my idols, So I remember I passed Jeff Warmeyer, and I was like, he was like, hey man, we're going way too fast, way too fast. And we were like mile 50. And I was like, we were like 1 hour ahead of what I was supposed to be. And I'm like, and he's like, and I have finished this race 4 times. I'm like, no, I know who you are. So I was like, okay, so we're good. So we keep going and we keep going. And then going up, I saw Michael McKnight, and he was a little bit struggling. So I kind of passed him, and he was walking without the light. And so I asked him, like, you need a light? I'm like, no, I have one in my bag. I was just struggling, I guess, Okay, see you later. The station was very close. So I pass him, then I see Max Joffiel. So I saw him there, and then I saw Finn. So I start passing like all these people. And then when I was going to Mingos Mountain, before I passed Heroldos, and then Mingos Mountain, my pacer told me, like, I think Courtney hasn't leave Mingos for about an hour. So we're gonna get her, like we're gonna see her there. I'm like, no way. I'm gonna catch up to Courtney. And I couldn't take a picture of the beginning of the race. I was like, man, I hope I see her in the race or tomorrow. So I didn't see her, so I didn't take a picture with her. Anyway, so I was like pushing so hard, and I got there, but she was already gone. So I keep, but that's what they told me, like, you are now in like 6th place. So I'm like, okay, 108, and then technical descent. I was with Cody. I run so much with Cody. He passed me all the downhills. I passed him all the uphills. And I remember he run jackpots. And he
You know him from Jackpot, I believe.
won
Yeah,
it.
because I saw both of you were there. Yeah, he won,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't really talk with him on jackpot, but when he told me, I really like. He was so cool. He was so cool. He was so nice. He was so talkative, just like me. So we were like just chatting and chatting, and he would pass me, and I would catch up to him. Then we find DJ. So when they my family told me like you're in six, but the other guys don't look as well as you do. I was like, okay. So I look good. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. But I wasn't thinking about placement. To be honest, I wasn't thinking about placement. I was like, we're not even halfway. I was coming down to Jerome. So I was like, this is like a long way to go. I'm not worried about no one right now. Then my watch died. I had an extra battery charger, but the connection wasn't the right one. My watch died, so I lost my data there. Then I grabbed another watch which had a wrong map. So when I was running, it was wrong. So I had to pull my cell phone. So it kind of had a little issue with the Garmin. And the cell phone, they were different maps. So then I started having trouble with the watch. So that's when I kind of like lost my time goal. I kind of just like threw it on the window. I'm like, I'm just gonna go by feeling, and my pacers helped me a lot to kind of keep going. So I just keep going. The most, like try to not think really on time, kind of effort, and I keep going. Then I remember when we got to Sedona. That was the big change. Sedona was where Michael Verstich left. So after he left, I saw Rachel leaving Sedona with DJ. So that was like, he like, oh, you're in fifth. But they're like, I saw them. They're like right ahead of me. I'm like, and we are not even on the 200s. I'm like, this is looking good. So because I'm strong on the uphills, so I keep hammering. And then I start like looking at DJ and kind of like stay behind him a long time. So right when I was there, I realized, okay, I'm gonna compete for a podium. Like there is 50 miles to go. I was already fourth. I was fourth when I got to the plateau. So I was like, okay, this is flat from now on. And fourth, I think I can keep pushing, I think I can keep not chasing yet, just moving. I was just wanted to move. So I kept moving, and then Rachel stayed ahead of me. I passed her, then she passed me. It was kind of like, oh, and that section was when my sleep depression got into me. Because at the beginning of the race, I have never experienced hallucinations. And that's something I was chasing. That was like, this is my chance. If I'm going to hallucinate, this is it, for sure. So the plan was like going until I couldn't and then just fall asleep in the trail. But I was like, hopefully I had someone with me to watch. But I remember the first section that I went without pacer, I had problem with the watch and the cell phone, and it was muddy. So I have to pull my cell phone and hold the pulse and try to move. And that's when I passed DJ. I remember I saw him. He was very close from me, and he was going straight. And my watch was telling me go left. I was like, this is wrong. So I called my wife, and she's the one that like, okay, no, check your map on the phone. This is the right one. I'm like, okay. So I'm just gonna follow the phone. Yes, okay. So I keep going because I was like, I'm not gonna stay with him. I've been chasing him for the last few hours. Now I just wanna pass him. So I passed him, and I was able to just get to the aid station, and I kept going. And after that, I knew I was gonna just be a podium, and then at the end with Rachel, I was fine. I was thinking, I'm fine. I'm gonna get third male no matter what, even if she passed me. But at the same time, you having fun, like this is fun. So I was sleeping. She passed me when I was sleeping. Then I wake up and I caught up to her and I passed her. And then that was when I realized, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna make it. Yeah.
Did you think that Rachel was trying to pass you back in the last little bit coming down Eldon? In the video, you were running really efficiently down the mountain, and it looked like it took the steam out of Rachel, but I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you were running from Rachel or if you were just running, having fun.
No, on that section, I started downhill very, very, very slow, and I got a little bit on a bad space in my head. It was the only time on the race where I was a little bit like upset. I was like, oh my God, this trail is dangerous. It's way too steep. We're way too tired. If you fall, you're gonna hurt yourself. So I started going down very slow and very mad at everything for a little while. And then I started realizing okay, it's fine, it is what it is. And then my wife called my pacer and hey, Rachel is 5 minutes behind you. And I was like, no way. Because I saw her when I was coming up to Eldon. I remember I summited and I turned and I saw her. But she was like a mile away and she had to go all the way up. So I was like, when she told me oh, she's 5 minutes behind you, I'm like, oh my God, she wants to pass me. So I told my pacer, you know what? Let's go. Let's move. Let's
Yeah.
let's just
No more
finish.
pouting.
Yeah, because I was always thinking I became telling him I've been dreaming about the time where we're gonna get to the little town of Flagstaff and run with my family and my crew, Fernando, Marisa, Robert, Tibu, all the people that came with my children. And I was like, I don't wanna rush it. I was like, I just wanna walk it in. But so I was thinking okay, so if I wanna walk it in, I better make space right now. So as soon as I see the trail that kind of cleared up a little bit, and I love running like that. I rather run with a little rocks here and there than just in the street or your easy road. That hurts more to me than a little bit technical. So I was just kind of that's perfect. It's a little downhill, not too rocky. It's fun, and then I could put the distance. So yeah, I didn't know because they told me, and they were like, they have you in both screens, and I had one cameraman in front, one cameraman in the back. So I kind of the ambient kind of got into me. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Have fun. Let's give a show.
You talked a little bit about sleep and all your time on the course. How much sleep did you get throughout the whole
Yeah, I only
event?
I only slept for 15 minutes at Wildcat. That was it.
15.
Yeah, I
15.
was I was actually planning to not sleep at all. Like my mind was like, if I can make it without sleep, I'll make it without sleep. But when I was on the second time by myself, I'm sorry, I kind of went off rail. The hallucination things, I was like, this is my chance. So when I was my second time by myself, every single rock and trunk or branch kind of the floor turned into some kind of animal. And I was like, kind of fun, still having fun, oh my God, because every time I would look at it, I would be like, oh, that's not it, oh, it's not it. So I knew everything was turning into animals, but I knew it was just my head. So I thought it was funny. But then the ground started kind of move a little more. So my balance started not to be so good. So I was like, okay, but it was not technical at all. It was just a fun trail. For some reason, also, I thought I had run it before, but I never have run it before. So for some reason,
The
I was like,
deja vu.
yeah, I was
It's so
like,
common.
hey,
The deja vu is so common. I don't know why.
yeah. I think it's a part of Magellan Monster that it's kind of similar. I think that's what it is, but I'm not sure. Anyway, but after that, I start feeling like, oh, I start asking myself what I was doing chasing the little flags around. I was like, what are you doing chasing these flags? What's the purpose? So I have to kind of think. I'm like, okay, hey, wake up. And I start singing literally Cocodona 250 over and over and over again.
Oh my
And then I
gosh.
remember Andrew Glaze when he was doing the Monster 300, almost at the end, he was like, look, I cannot blink. He was talking and he couldn't blink. So I was like, I gotta do it like that because if I blink, I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep. And then I started getting a little more worried. It was like, okay, this is a little too much. So I started raining, and I took off my windbreaker. So I got cold right away. So when I go cold, I wake up. All the sleep went away. So I just kind of actually I run decent the last 3 miles before the air station. So I was like, okay, I made it. I got my pacer, and I was thinking I was gonna sleep, but now I feel so fresh again. So I was like, but I have a pacer now. So I was like, okay, let's go. And if I get too sleepy, at least I'm with someone, and it was not raining no more. So we left. But I felt good. But in the back of my head, I was like, if that happened to you going up to Eldon, it's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be safe. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sleep, at Wildcat. But I knew Rachel was like 5 minutes behind me. So I was like, if I sleep, she may pass me. But if I don't, and I was like going back and forward, back and forward. So I told my
Hmm.
patient, you know what? I'm gonna sleep. You know why? Because I can't decide. If I can't decide, it's because something is wrong. So, she called the crew and like, he's gonna sleep. He said he's gonna sleep. So I went there and I sleep 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, they told me, "Hey, Rachel just left." I'm like, it's okay. I need another 5 minutes. So I took another 5 minute nap, and then after that, I ate something. I got my clothes up and put it on. Let's go. I actually put too much clothes because I started running. I saw the mountain with the snow, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be freezing. But as I started running, I keep taking clothes off. That's one of the things I was very worried about, like the weather. But since mile 62, that I got my cold gear, I put it on my backpack. I never use any of it. I just stay with two long sleeve and one windbreaker on and off. That's it. I didn't use any. I didn't use leggings or nothing. And I brought them because I was so scared of being cold. But I guess I kept moving well. So yeah. After that, I went up, I went down, and when I got to the hotel after the race, I didn't even make it to the bed. I came in, and there's a little space between the bed and the wall, and I kind of just lie I laid in the floor, and my wife took off my shoes, and she's like, "Are you taking a shower?" And I think I didn't answer. I was asleep. Then 2 a.m. I wake up and I did take a shower at 2 a.m. Then went back to the actual bed. And then at 6 a.m. I was so hungry. I wake up, I ate, and after that, the sleep was gone. My wife stayed sleepy for like 3 days. Like she will fall asleep during the day. She was like, I cannot keep my eyes open. But me, to be honest, I kind of just like, okay, I slept my 7 hours, I'm 6 hours, I'm ready to go. And I just keep going. Actually, I took the days off, well, Friday from work, but I was like, I'm just taking it off because I deserve it. But I was like
You're still
feeling
on the
fine.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing crewing and pacing, the amount of energy that takes, and the emotional strain of that. I know we've all done that. And
Yeah.
especially when you've got your kids out there and your family, and then you're worried about your loved one out on the course. So kudos to your wife and your crew for doing that, because we know it's a team effort there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the stress was double because of the weather conditions. Because like we were thinking, like we
Mm-hmm.
heard a lot about Cocodona being so accessible for the crew and so fun, but we wanted to be kind of like extra careful and have an RV for the children because, as you said, it's hard for the crew to be out there so many days. So I was like, at least you guys can like kind of sleep, and if the children want to sleep whenever you can. So yeah, the race was super hard for me, but I was just running. They are the one that had to worry about how to make it to the next aid station with all the mud, with all the circumstances. So I don't know how I'm feeling, what is he gonna need, in what mood is he gonna get in. I was trying to get, stay in a good mood all the time, but yeah, definitely crewing is hard, and it takes a toll. All of us, we were like super tired afterwards.
Edgar, it's a very impressive race you just pulled off in some really challenging conditions. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Gosh, it's such a great story. And where do we see you next? Where we want you to enjoy the moment that you just had, but where is Edgar going to be next?
Yeah, I'm gonna run the Sawmill Ultras here in Las Vegas in Mount Charleston. They have a 38 mile. That was the first race I won, and I did like that was the first race I'm gonna try to win. It's a local race. But I have done it every year since then. So this is gonna be, I think, the third, and my family runs it too. So I think it was my Emilio's first 5K when he was 4. I think it was Ellie's second 5K or first trail 5K when she was like 6. So now it's kind of like a family event. And after that, for sure, I'm going to France in October. Mongolian Monster, maybe again. I don't know yet, but I've been done to like I've been. My family loves it. My children love the little Pine town, the town of Pine. They love the crewing there. They love the race. We all love it. So that one maybe, but I haven't signed up for anything yet. So until I sign up, but I definitely want to keep trying 100 miles or plus. I think that's where my performance can get the best, and yeah, and I think I can improve. So yeah, 100 miles. I'll be posting more now. Before I was more like, this social media thing doesn't make sense to me. Like for me, it was like no one cares. But now that I see people care, and like the messages that people get inspired, and like that's kind of cool. Like that has made me think a little more about not just myself, but it was like, okay, if I can, leave a little inspiration behind besides just being selfish with me and my family, because, that's the main engine behind. But I have noticed if I just share that, people also get, like related to and encouraged. So I'm gonna definitely keep me involved in the ultra running, and hopefully Cocodona, hopefully I'll definitely be excited if oh my god, yeah, I cannot even like my brain start going like thinking, like anyway, yeah.
Well, we'll keep going, keep training,
Yeah,
keep that shining
and
positive
see.
attitude. It's been an honor to learn more about you and your family through you. So we can't wait to see what's next for you. I know I speak for a lot of people listening to this, the joy and the pure just fun that you're having in the sport. We need to see more of that. So it's been an honor chatting with you, and we'll see you out there on the trail soon.
Thank you
We're
very
rooting for you,
much.
Yeah,
Thank you, a pleasure, and I hope I see you guys around.
absolutely.